And welcome to the desk! Every time I hear Sean say that in the video, I want to enter the desk.
Don't ever
like
do that again.
Why not?
That was awful.
Welcome!
I said no.
You don't like it?
That was bad.
You should do it.
No.
I don't know. I every time I hear it, I get amped up. I get really excited for Worlds.
I was so excited for Worlds last year. This is Worlds this year. We get different welcome overall.
So
Hopefully it's you. You can do it.
Hopefully
now.
it's me, and I'll just be like,
Speaking of Worlds,
welcome!
though, tickets still on sale right now. hi-rezexpo.com. We're going to have Smite for PC, Smite for console, as well as other games, including Paladins. We'll be there. I'll be there. Tom will be there. Totally thinking about it. Nobody really cares about Adonis. It's okay.
Ouch. Well, Adonis did confirm that he was going to go.
Oh, did he?
Adonis said yesterday he was
That's
going
why I
to
didn't
head there.
care. That's why I was like, well, you said he wasn't probably not coming. So
And it'll be this year that Adonis goes, welcome! And he'll be able to...
I'd love to hear Adonis do that. That'd be great.
I think you could do it. Give me your best welcome to Picks and Mans.
No.
Well, we've got a new matchup. Introduce us to our matchup with your monster truck voice.
We've got Hungry for More versus Cyclone this time round. And Hungry for More, so far this season, not a bad start for them. Beat Fantastic 2-0, beat Cringe Crew 2-0. Only fell to Paradigm in the last game we saw earlier on this week, which was yesterday. And then obviously Cyclone, well, they did find that split against Dignitas for their very first point of the season. And Cyclone here, honestly, I actually have high hopes for them after watching that performance. If they can continue doing and making strides like that, they're going to be comfortably mid-pack. Comfortably mid-pack, I want to say.
I'll agree with that, but do you reckon today, right now, HFM is the team that they're going to see that success against?
I don't know. I think what it could be for them is a real learning position here. I think Hungry for More have got down as third over in Europe now. Obviously, Energy, Paradigm at the moment, though. We'll see. Energy, Paradigm, Hungry for More are the top three for me.
Sure.
And it's a clear divide, 1 and 2, then third. You know, there's a big
I feel
gap there. But I still think Hungry for More are definitely better than Cyclone here going into the picks and bans.
We'll take a look. Cat and Kala certainly want to make things work in the direction of CycloneGG. And then Hungry for More. They've got some plans around Ataraxia. You know, I'm really disappointed you didn't introduce our...
I'm sorry. I'm just not...
Welcome!
Just not on stage yet. You see, I only get excited when it's actually hype, man. It's not hype yet.
We're getting into it.
Average game of the season, man.
Sure, but you gotta...
Average game of the season.
You gotta channel your inner Sean Charles.
No. I fake it enough on a broadcast normally.
Oh, wow.
That's a lie. He goes in, he finds two. See?
You're a
faker.
You're a faker.
Big old fakey.
You're a fake. I'm all
I've
real.
owned up to it now. It's fine.
I'm as real as an Ao Kwang band, and that's where Hungry for More is going to go. Ao Kwang, Fafnir, Nemesis. Ooh, Hungry for More banning out Nemesis.
Susano.
I mean, Cyclone now. When you're on the second pick, Fafnir and Nemesis you have to ban them.
Mm-hmm.
But when the first team says, all right, we don't want to play Nemesis either, Cyclone get an option. They don't want to see Susano. So it's Hungry for More first pick.
It's funny to see the Nemesis ban from Hungry for More than anything, because we know that CaptainTwig likes that playstyle in the jungle. Something that farms up to mid game, has a bit of burst early on if required for the counter initiations, and it plays well with Hungry for More strategy. They're one of the first teams that really adapted that Nemesis strategy.
Instead, we're going to see a much more different situation. In fact, Hungry for More are going to put CaptainTwig right in the driver's seat. Something that I think he's been working up to since joining the squad. He joined here sort of on a low point and gradually worked his way up to become a good part of the team. And now he's really starting to make his best effort forward to become a more focal point. And the first pick, Thor, I mean, that's how you reward it.
Talking to Hungry for More, you know, Ataraxia, I spoke to him multiple times about this roster that these guys put together. They didn't just put them together because of the fact that they felt this team was good and like underestimated by a lot of people in the team, but also because they had LAN experience. The biggest issue with them, though, is that the last LAN they went to, that experience did not shine through. They had a lot of things to fix. And obviously, we saw PANDALIKE constantly picking up Ymir so far this season, and it did get punished last time round.
We'll see if that works out the same way. CycloneGG, they have the Bacchus Vulcan combo, so a lot of nice burst damage coming out from the belly flop after all that's concerned. Ataraxia going to take what has really become quickly one of his more picked hunters here, Jing. Ataraxia lately has really, not even lately, since the advent of the character, has really sort of taken a liking to the young hunter.
I mean, we saw her getting picked up now and again overall, but mainly when Hou-Yi was on the table, Hou-Yi was picked. With these changes to Hou-Yi now, whereas Mark of the Crow doesn't have as much penetration in the later stages, Hou-Yi started to fall out of favor in terms of playstyle from a lot of people. I know some of the hunters, they didn't actually really enjoy playing Hou-Yi. They felt like he was too simplistic, so they liked something a bit more complex, and that's something that Jingwei does bring to the table.
Exactly, just a whole lot of agility. You know, no pun intended. She jumps around in between the team fights. Very, very problematic
the Batz in this first phase is very surprising to me. It's a bit early for the jungle pick there. Maybe they just want to get it on the table before Hungry start banning the jungler out here. Obviously, we saw Fenrir coming out from teams recently, and I'm not enjoying Fenrir right now, so I hope we don't see him anymore.
What's your beef with Fenrir?
My beef with Fenrir is if you watch back this past week alone of Fenrir games, he's been bottom 3 of player damage every game.
Well, sure, but his player damage is the beginning of the game. As the game goes later and later,
he's still bottom 3.
Sure, but Batz, and that's my point. Batz isn't going to be number 1, 2, or 3, 4, 5 on the player damage either. It's all about what is your job. And here, Batz is selected in the first round to really disrupt. Thor comes down, all along Shen bites in, and Batz turns the party on, and everybody walks in a different direction. It's the counter initiation rather than the damage.
Poseidon? Ooh, spicy. I like it. The reason I like Poseidon here is against the Vulcan. Very, very useful. It's very similar. Kukulkan and Poseidon are 2 very similar gods. They provide the same sort of wave clear in terms of the whirlpool versus the tornado coming out from them. They cover up a large area of the lane, and it actually be able to take down the turret too. One thing the whirlpool brings that's different, however, is it brings the cripple. Which
means you can't backfire. So Vulcan going to have a few less options, as well as Bacchus, if he decides to get stuck in that whirlpool, not going to be able to jump. And into the Poseidon choice. Cyclone playing with fire here. Going to go and select a character that has problems dealing with Poseidon.
I mean, we say problems. I mean, overall, you've got to just make sure you avoid the whirlpool as Tyr. You can get cancelled at your fearless, mid-fearless as well by that whirlpool. You do have the Lawbringer to escape a Kraken that could follow it up.
Of course.
But at the same time, you're forcing your ultimate defensively more often than not in those situations.
I mean, generally, Tyr ultimate tends to be used defensively.
Start the game, 2 Soul Stones on the side of Cyclone here. Actually, no, Hungry for More, I should say. The name's the wrong way around. Don't worry about that. We'll get that corrected for you in a moment. But yeah, double Soul Stones coming out here. And it's actually Hungry for More who are the right-hand team. So we got the picks and bans the wrong way around this time. It's actually Wlfy on it. So picks and bans, we're in reverse, Tom. That's all we need to know.
So this makes a lot more sense. Variety playing Tyr into the Poseidon. As we said, Poseidon, Tyr into Poseidon is a very spicy pick, but Variety is one of the better Tyr players in the league, in the world.
It doesn't change my analysis at all in terms of the pick and ban phases here. I think Poseidon's a good pick against the Vulcan and the Bacchus here.
Sure.
The Tyr pick is suspect, and the boys of Hungry for More know it's suspect. They must do.
But when you have a player like Tyr, like Variety, that excels so much at a pick, sometimes you can pick that into a poor matchup because your personal play will just outweigh that. And again, taking account into the players, CaptainTwig on the Batz makes a lot more sense. Seeing Ice on the Thor, Ice yesterday ran his game. Cyclone won off of the back of Ice's Thor, which is why we see it first picked overall.
Oh, really, Panda? Suntouch special coming at you. Him, Tricks Tank, and now PandaLike going to add his name to the list of steals at the start of the game.
As Suntouch says, nobody knows where the fat man goes, and PandaLike.
I mean, they do. They do know where he goes. If he's got Wrath, he's going to a buff at the start of the game, so that's a lie. Suntouch is incorrect. They all know where the fat man goes.
Well, they didn't see it. They didn't force it.
They didn't see it.
They didn't stop it, and they did not put an end to it. PandaLike gets a red buff alongside his mid lane.
So we missed a lot of, obviously, picks and bans. We calculated what the teams were going to do here, but it's a bit of a switch up. Now, it makes more sense to see why Cyclone were the ones that banned the Nemesis this time around. I wasn't expecting to see Hungry for More ban a Nemesis. Doesn't make sense to me, especially if they had the first pick option. But Cyclone want a bit more of aggression from the jungle here, so Ice is going to have this Thor, which he had very good games on so far this split.
Exactly. Ice is much more of a playmaker than a real setup man for his team Cyclone, so I expect to see a lot of that nonsense. Whereas Collis, next to VoteNBK, they want to be aggressive. Ataraxia, just going to farm up a little bit, playing this Freya.
I've actually seen VoteNBK on that as well, taking it away from Ataraxia. And now I mentioned earlier on in the last case with Toli as well, that back in the day when Freya was a thing, we started to see some Pythagorean's piece come out on her. Now he did get buffed, and I believe it was Ataraxia, one of the first people to actually pick up that Pythagorean's piece in the game and make it work. I'll be interested to see if he's adapted that just yet.
It's fantastic, and it winds up being very specific in the situations that you want it. And basically, when it comes down to Freya, she gets a lot of bonus for lifesteal.
Very true indeed. It's a bit of a risky strategy he's gone for with a Soul Stone here as well. He will get a little bit of extra damage off of that, but at the same time, he's a little bit less survivable. So he's going to be very careful about his positioning here.
Exactly, and so going back to the Freya choice, you get 15% extra lifesteal because of that passive. You combine that with a Pythagoras piece and a Bancroft's Talon, all of a sudden Freya able to really deal with damage the way Variety is dealing with damage right here. Just pushing it against the wall, not even thinking about it.
It was a good gank from Ice there on the pressure from Variety, but Variety didn't panic at all. Notice how patient he was.
Yep.
Took a sidestep, able to get the Fearless onto Ice, and Ice could have been in a lot of trouble there if he didn't purify away, so wise for him to do that one. Variety survives the gank and actually turns the tables because he gets the relic off of Thor.
And I love that gank out of Ice because if it's successful, he goes ahead and pushes his teammate ahead. He allows his solo lane to really catch up. He gets a kill, etc. And if it's not successful, which we just saw, well, he still hits level 5 and he finishes off Boots. So worst case scenario, he hits his power spike, he being Ice. So all well and good. Very intelligent choice to rotate there.
Well, this game as well, we get to see something very interesting. The thing is going to be is just how good is PrettyPrime's Vulcan, because he's known world over as probably one of the best players of it in the world. But this time round, he's against a Thor and a Poseidon, two gods that can combine so well to shut down a Vulcan in any given scenario. And the fact that he started here with Purification shows he trusts in his own ability to escape bad situations with his backfire and Purification, not going for Sanctuary to avoid the big Kraken.
Exactly, the Purification going to avoid the cripple so he can backfire out of that Kraken that you're talking about. And you can see the Vulcan was selected as second, so that follow-up choice of Wlfy, certainly a good selection.
Twig invading the speed buff on that side, though. Just pressure in all the lanes in favor of Hungry for More. They just allowed him to walk in and strip that one away. Didn't even take his own jungle just yet. Just went straight to enemy jungle, knowing speed buff was up, and no response from Cyclone in time.
Yeah, not able to really make an impact there in the jungle. Instead, Ice back at base. He's going to go ahead and make sure that Erlang Shen gets the blue buff. Deathwalker, a little bit behind here. Or a little bit ahead, excuse me, by about 300, give or take. Not too big of a deal.
I do want to see Ice start to focus mid lane, though. As I mentioned about Prime there, start getting these ults off on Vulcan, try and force out the Purification early, then come in again for another gank afterwards with the Kraken follow-up as well, if possible, when that Purification's down. On the side of Hungry for More, though, what their strategy should really be here, with having this Wrath early on a Bacchus, they could look for a few early Gold Furies with the Vulcan as well. They're just going to be a little bit careful of the Krakens coming out from Poseidon to secure, but Vulcan should have a better time of things because of that.
Yeah, exactly. Vulcan can sort of stay more at a distance as the mid game comes on, and then late game he's got to get a little bit closer. But if you do get hit by that backfire, you're probably going to be in a lot of trouble. So certainly wanting to make use of the area denial more specifically.
And the other option they've got in the mid lane here, Cyclone, as well, is they can look to focus onto Bacchus. The real initiation for this team is going to be the Bacchus. That's PandaLike's playstyle. He's the one that likes to go aggressive. If they can get away from the flop on the initial engagement, they could turn it immediately onto a Bacchus who's gone Wrath at the beginning of the game. No real defense online just yet.
Exactly. Bacchus, one of the characters that really relies on that Purification. Cyclone going to use their ultimates here. And there it goes. Using the Poseidon Kraken early in the game allows a huge boost for objective secure, Wrath or not. And Cyclone able to just drop it down and in 5 minutes take home a Gold Fury.
And this is why I was saying I've got high hopes for Cyclone being at least mid-pack this season. Their ability to actually realize tactical advantages on the map of rotations. They did that against a Wrath Bacchus, just so you guys at home realize how important that is. That's 1200 damage raw that a Bacchus can do just with Wrath. Not including the Intoxicate as well, but they recognize the map advantage of Bacchus being right-hand side, so they pressure the Gold Fury.
Exactly. You can see the wards from Cyclone there right by the fire elementals, which is where Bacchus is going to be if he's on the right side of the map. He's there to push out a solo lane and then help out pick up some elementals. So as soon as Cyclone see that transition has been made, they're able to go ahead and make a transition on their own and pick up the objective. So Cyclone starting it off.
And it's 1,000 gold lead as well, which is the other talking point here, in favor of Cyclone. That is relevant, especially when you lost your speed buff at the second spawn of it too. It still shows that even though they're pressuring, they're not finding anything. This is a bit risky.
I mean, we were talking a lot about Vulcan being susceptible to a gank. What about a Freya? Well, that's all of her damage. Nice.
She's got ult, though. She's still got ult, and she's trying to hold it for the last second and bought himself an extra second of time. Great gank from Ice. At first, I thought it was a bit risky for the simple fact it's Thor alone. Forgot about the Athena. Everybody forgets about the Athena, and they punish him with it.
Even if it's a Thor alone, Hindu, I mean, you land down on top of Freya. Let's pretend like you actually hit it, right? You're going to force out the Purification at first. You get whoop, you respond with purification of your own, and then you can go and get the stun. When it comes to a Thor versus, hold that thought, there's the invade one more time from CaptainTwig. Speed buff goes again to HFM's jungler, so 2 successful invades coming out for Hungry for More.
Interesting play from Twig there as well. Uses the Fear No Evil to create the space, but also secure the buff. It does dot damage on the Fear No Evil. It was enough to make sure he picked it up for himself. Ice now going to rotate around, look for Twig, throw out the ward. He wants to see if the speed buff was available, was the big reason for that.
Just dropping that, so maybe next time Ice can be on top of the invade.
Now you saw exactly what happened to Prime there. Drops turret, immediately Whirlpool eats it up straight away, as well as the minions too. This is one of the negative matchups Prime's going to have to deal with this game. I really like the Poseidon pick. It's not something you see too often, and it's going to be executed well. You need some setup for it as well, and you've got that in the Athena.
I mean, we haven't seen Poseidon in a long time, and then even talking to MLC Stealth, who is one of the, who once was, I should say, one of the premier Poseidon players. He's got a little bit of leeway. He was talking about being able to be a little bit more creative with his picks, and I asked him, I said, hey, are we going to see any Poseidon? And he was like, I don't know about that one.
Well, the funny thing is, we've always said, like, Vulcan and Poseidon, very similar gods. They provide the same thing, but one comes in meta and the other one goes out of meta. They're never normally in the meta at the same time, is what you'll see, because they provide the same thing. And generally, it's like, at the moment, it's all about knockups, and most of these knockups come from leap abilities or escape abilities that come from that. The Whirlpool really coincides nicely with that, with the cripple, and it can actually shut down a lot of those engages.
Exactly. The cripple is really what well, we haven't seen it just yet come into play, but as we hit the mid game and you start to see the core group up here in the middle, more along the lines of 10 minutes, then I think it's really going to come into play, specifically with respects to PANDALIKE. I
do like the style that Cyclone's going for. They realize their composition here. They're looking for it to out-rotate and tactically outthink their opponents in the early stages of the game, which is great. But on top of that, they're just looking for picks. You see the Thor Athena combo go off early on for the first blood, and they're happy to pressure but not overstay their welcome. I say that, but then Deathwalker's in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, Deathwalker going to get surrounded here. Here comes help from the left-hand side, though. Great taunt. Kraken going to zone out the 2 on the right side. CaptainTwig dealing with Ice while Variety gets engaged on by Wlfy. There's a short hop out of the Vulcan ultimate. Still, almost enough to take out Wlfy. If it wasn't for Athena, he would have been dead, and PrettyPriMe says you're dead anyway. Deathwalker trying to block for Collis. There's a Fearless into a power cleave onto Ice. Can't find the hits until PrettyPriMe drops the backfire. 2 for Hungry for More, as nobody drops in that one for Cyclone.
It's a great play from Hungry for More, but I don't know what Cyclone were really doing there. Deathwalker caught out of position and got punished heavily. Not only was he punished, but so was the rest of his team, because they came and followed into channel to help him out. Immediately, what do? They turn onto Wlfy. Kraken off the mark. He did a raw Kraken looking for the damage. Didn't work out for him and his team. Kraken down, and guess who's there? PrettyPriMe with the Vulcan from the backside, isn't focused the entire fight, gets free damage off, gets himself some kills.
And we saw one of the bigger differences between the Poseidon and the Vulcan right there. Poseidon drops his kit and then kind of walks around. Vulcan's able to get 2 key targets with backfire because the cooldown so much less than what Poseidon's able to dish out. So PrettyPriMe using his kit very, very well there.
Well, the worst thing about that for Cyclone, though, is they had that small lead at the beginning of the game. Well, it got answered in just that one engagement has now cost him a tier 1 tower on the right-hand side, even things up in terms of gold on the map. And it puts Hungry for More in a comfortable position again. That's what Hungry for More want.
And it's really just Deathwalker kind of being in the wrong spot. What was he even looking for over there, making that rotation towards mid?
Ward placements maybe, Fire Elementals another option, Ryan Harpies another option, but there's 3 members there and immediately saw them. He got focused and the rest of his team did try to block. I like the fact Cyclone tried to help him out. I just think the execution was a little bit off.
Variety looking for Deathwalker by himself this time, trying to find the aggression over the wall. No blink, so it's going to be raw or with the ultimate coming around the backside. Shen has no clue. Here comes Variety, Fearless off the mark, but he'll hit the minions, knocked up by the Shen.
Quite a bit from that, unfairness onto Deathwalker. But good news for Variety in the tier matchup versus the Shen in the early stages. It's definitely all Shen. However, at this point in time, the passive really kicks in for tier.
Ice up in the air, looking for the counter initiation. CaptainTwig just dropping his ultimate, but Ice will play it defensively and just clear out some of the minions that made his way onto the mid tower.
It's good little zone duty more than anything else. Just force back Hungry for More, realize they can't capitalize on anything else. But ult for ult traded, and now in mid lane, there's a good Kraken.
And that's the combination. Ice Baby picks up one and gets put down himself.
Oh, Prime just turned up big there, looking for another one. Backfire. Is he going to get another one? Shotgun.
Collis, sit down. PrettyPriMe, you asked the question. Hindu posed the question.
I did. Prime's going to show up this game. He's probably the best player in the world, recognized by a lot of people there. And his teammate PandaLike was focused. I said Bacchus is another one that could get focused. Well, they focus PandaLike, but Prime walks around the corner, hits that shotgun on 2, follows it up with a meatball, cleans that one up, and then goes in again and does the same combo.
Same thing we saw before in the fight on the other side of the jungle. And make no mistake, I'm not sitting there trying to turn you on your heels like you asked the question. This is a big game. PrettyPriMe going to be playing on the Vulcan into a poor matchup. Can he do it? He's 4-0-2 at 11 minutes. Pretty sure Vulcan, PrettyPriMe could do it.
And he's pretty certain as well, again, because he's got Doom Orb as well now. Look, he said he was going for Bancroft's talent, but that spike in that engagement went, all right, boys, Doom Orb. I think I'm feeling myself a little bit better now. We're doing okay in the laning phase. My positioning is good. And that's the key to Vulcan as well, is positioning. It's one of the hardest things to really get right because you are slightly mobile. A lot of people think he's very immobile. That backfire brings a lot of mobility as well.
Yeah, it's a pretty big deal when you find the backfire and, of course, really dealing with the turret as well. But coming down to the backfire, fantastic stuff out of PrettyPriMe. Why don't we take another look at that play over there in the mid lane?
We'll come back to that in a second, so I want to see what went on in this replay. And this is what happened. The Kraken goes on the Vulcan ultimate on the mark, then a backfire on 2, picks up 1 kill. Still has the meatball. It was the Vulcan ultimate that got hidden more than anything else.
And it's all about knowing the cooldowns. PrettyPriMe counting down the seconds till that second backfire comes up, giving him the presence of mind to go for that one. Now left side is where everybody's going to be looking at. VoteNBK chased out.
Now, as we saw that replay as well, I just want to mention one more thing there, is Prime showed his old experience of playing Vulcan as well. When he threw the meatball, before he threw the backfire, he threw out the auto attack. The old passive used to slow, which would confirm that backfire. Prime really showing that he knows this god so well. Even though after the changes, he still makes that mechanical decision.
Old habits die hard. I mean, I hate when casters bring up their own play experience because it's completely irrelevant, but I do that too. It's just a long time of playing that character. Hard to shake. Collis knows that Gold Fury is going on. Hungry for more, 25% on it already. VoteNBK showing up, but can't handle it.
Too late.
Hungry for more, pick up the gold.
And Collis is a little bit isolated there, but they're not going to focus it Hungry for more. Finalizing was used by CaptainTwig, so Gold Fury goes down for free in favor of Hungry for more there. And now Cyclones have to limp back to base.
And that's all off of the pressure that PrettyPriMe brought the team from the mid lane, getting the 2 easy kills, able to open the window. Ataraxia now pressured just a little bit. Tosses out ults in a frenzy.
It was good pressure.
CaptainTwig jumps over the ultimate of Wlfy. Not going to get Kraken this time. Hot plays.
You know when the Kraken's coming overall. You can clearly see it as well. You hear it before it even starts to animate on the map. And with that, if you preemptively purify, you leap away straight away. CaptainTwig holding his somersault, importantly, for that moment.
Just great stuff to watch out of CaptainTwig.
It's more mechanics I'm interested in this game as well between the two. I see the tactical advantages Cyclone started off with here, getting good pressure on the Gold Fury, good early first blood, shutting down Freya early on, a fantastic call to make. But then Hungry for more, since that one engagement where Deathwalker was focused on, have started to take control of the game once more. And just continue to apply the pressure on it. The worst thing is now, you've also got PrettyPriMe in the mid lane, who actually, he's the one that's gone Pythagorum's piece here, which works very well with Bacchus and Freya as well, just to add to that.
Very true. Can you give him just a little bit more? Let's take a look at that item. Well, actually, all that Variety going to get rooted real quick. There's the dash on through. Variety trying to deal with Deathwalker. I say deal with. He's already been dealt with. Variety has a significant lead over here in the solo lead.
And that's how done to that tier 1 tower going down from the first engagement. That's opened things up a little bit for rotations to come out from the solo lanes earlier on in this game. And it's allowing Variety to get a bit more freeform without too much worry of Erlang Shen over-aggressing to a tier 1 tower with no tower to fall back to.
So like we said here in the mid lane, a little bit of a group up. And on the Vulcan, we have the Pythagorum's piece recently changed in the patch, and you can see the changes that was made. Magical power boosted, and the magical power in the aura changed to really help the item just be a little bit more concise.
And we mentioned that one more time, just for the fact the power came down overall on this flat, but the aura increased in power and the percentage that it gives to your team as well. So that aura applies to you as well, which means overall this item did get buffed in the patch for the person that picks it up.
And it works out well because, like you said, it's going to share it not just with the Bacchus, but also with the Freya as well.
I love this flank. I love this flank from the team. They're trying to cut them off and put aggression on so they can get a tier 1 tower in the mid lane at the same time. The turret coming into account here, removing backdoor protections, forcing it to re-engage now from Erlang Shen, trying to defend.
CaptainTwig thought about going left side. Instead, going to stick it to the mid lane, blinking forward. There's the Fear No Evil. Everybody in a different direction, and down comes the damage. Raxia able to take out Deathwalker. Wlfy gets a chunk taken out of him as as well.
Beautiful.
And the fearless power cleave. There it goes. Wlfy's dead.
Beautiful law bringer from Variety. Just gets to the backside and force a reposition from them. The one person that didn't recognize it was Wlfy, so he pays the iron price and goes back to the depths of the sea once more. And now they get a tier 2 tower off it.
That was a tier 1 tower. That's a tier 1 if. Right? That's what that call is. Hungry for More goes, let's get a tier 1, maybe a tier 2. They make the play for the tier 1, and if things go well, we'll be able to push the enemy off of it and take a tier 2 as well. So 2K in total for the mid lane siege. Unfortunately, though, for HFM and their fans, Hindu Man, left side, VoteNBK just set up shop.
And I think that was a really wise idea from VoteNBK to go to that left-hand side. The game's starting to go further and further into Hungry for More's favor here, so they need something to look forward to the later stages. Otherwise, you're going to walk into Freya with no answer. Well, that answer might just be that little girl with those wings in the jungle right now. With that crit coming online a little bit more, with those explosive bolts, she can start to box a little bit more, and that build is coming along with it because of that.
And I like when this happens. We see, look at Jing, bottom of the player damage, 2,200. Are we able to look at structure damage by any chance? I'm not even sure if we have that option available, but if we did, you'd see VoteNBK towards the top. Not everything in Smite is about combat and battle mechanics. There it is, structure damage. Look at that, just way ahead of the pack.
But it's structure damage because he got uncontested more than anything
That's
else.
What I'm saying.
His ability to just get the free farm was more than anything else. Answer back a little bit of gold and get his build progressively filled. I'm looking at him in terms of when this game goes later, there's going to be one guy that they're going to look to him and go, okay, Jingwei, let's go. We need you now.
Sure.
At the moment, he's bottom of the player standings. That may stay the same if Hungry for More continue, but it is the great white hope of Cyclone.
Exactly. Unfortunately, Variety going to get grouped up on 3 players here. Variety doesn't really seem too bothered by it, though, honestly, Hindu.
Not at all. I don't think he needs to be. His tier, his build's pretty much core online. Got magical defense and physical defense as well. By the looks of it, working on a winged blade as well, is it?
Yeah, and plus he's got the Genjis, so a lot of magical protection going the way of the tier as well.
And at the moment in time, Hungry for More just waiting for the next Wlfy to come up. You can see the whole jungle is down. There's no reason for them to push on too much because the blades are just too sat in the middle. They're not actually pushed in their favor yet. They need to push out the lanes first. Twig, though, well, I say that, and then Twig walks around the corner into 4 members of Cyclone and give him a free kill.
Nowhere for him to, I mean, even if Twig pops the beads or the purification, he's in the air. He died in 2 knockups.
Knockups OP.
Tough stuff. CaptainTwig, wrong place, wrong time. Gold Fury now.
I obviously go for the Gold Fury straight away. They've still got all their ultimates here, Cyclone. They've also got no fear, no evil to deal with.
Yep.
Bait them into a fight now. Bait Hungry for More into a fight. Just be careful of the Vulcan ultimate coming over the wall. Find a pick and make it a 3v5 if you can.
Yeah, this is the moment for Cyclone to really take advantage of. CaptainTwig still 10 seconds in the box, not going to come out. There's a fearless power cleave onto VoteNBK. He's able to dash out of trouble real quick and find a couple of follow-up shots on the Panda.
But instead, what they chose to do is send Deathwalker to the right-hand side to get a tier 1 tower to answer one in the back earlier. But it does allow Hungry for More to keep control of the Gold Fury pit. And as this game goes on, it's more difficult to take the Gold Fury away from them. With the Wrath, with the Vulcan ultimate, with a Fear No Evil, those 3 abilities alone will zone out an entire team and secure an objective.
And now Hungry for More just going to take their strategy to the bank. Up in the sky goes the Thor. He's going to land right on down on top of 3. iceicebabyy trying to do it. Gold Fury goes to Cyclone. Taken away by the jungler.
They do a good job of doing that, especially against the Wrath that wasn't even used by PANDALIKE. He was taken off the map before he could do anything. That was a really good play, all individually really from Iceice, but the communication was good from the teams to have Wlfy follow that up.
Exactly. Iceice lands right on top and Wlfy able to pop the Kraken out of the bottom. The stun combined with the damage out of Wlfy. If you're stunned, you can't hit the Wrath. Tie game. Cyclone bring it right on back.
I mean, we say it's a tie game, but positional advantage for me is Hungry for More at the moment, and they're looking at Deathwalker again, who's very low. He will fall down there. Fear No Evil was used, thinking he was gonna escape, but it's a free pick. The speed buff was defended, however. No, he wasn't on Ataraxia. CaptainTwig just picked it up.
But Twiggy with the ultimate there, that's a little bit rough. And if I'm Cyclone again, I'm looking, even though I'm a man down, I'm still looking for an opportunity to capitalize off of the no monkey ult.
But look at the ultimates they've got on the side Cyclone open right now. They've only really got the Jingwei airstrike. You don't want to see her initiating with that. I mean, you have potential to put some pressure on the map with this 4v5 advantage, but mainly, you've only got one tower to look at, which is mid lane. And if you go mid lane, that's exactly where Hungry for More are going to sit.
Kalas in trouble, surrounded by 4, just going to get torn to shreds here. Ataraxia with his 3rd kill of the game. Vulcan ultimate not going to find pretty much anything.
First time we got to say that today.
Which one?
Vulcan ultimate missing. Like, he's hit every Vulcan ultimate so far, has PrettyPriMe on this mid laner so far. His build is coming along nicely too, but because of that pressure, Hungry for More, with no tier 2 tower remaining, they can just rip through the jungle now after pressuring them out and picking up that kill.
Very true. and that's exactly what we're seeing. HFA able to go ahead and clean out, clear out, clean out, and just take everything away from Cyclone, which is why we still see a little bit of a, I mean, it's essentially a tie game, but the couple of 100 gold that we do see is from Hungry for More denying the experience and the gold from Cyclone in their own jungle.
I mean, we see it's a tie game. Experience is the real difference between the two here. 2.5k doesn't seem that much, but at the same time, it does start to add up as time goes on.
It's the mid lanes here. Look at the 3-level differential between Wlfy and PrettyPriMe. That's why Wlfy and the team Cyclone try to make the plays on the objectives rather than the players, because they're aware of that differential.
Well, the one thing we saw in the last engagement there was how quickly they picked up PandaLike and stopped that Fury attempt coming out. Vulcan ultimate was saved by PrettyPriMe as well, because they believed that Bacchus was secure with the Wrath. If you take out the Bacchus beforehand, we go back to very early Season 1 days where Hog was in Hand of the Gods, and every single support would be the one that would fight over trying to steal that objective. If you shut down the support before you can even do it, well, then it becomes anyone's game, and that's exactly what we saw with the last Fury.
Exactly. It was such a big point. A lot of successful supports made their names on that.
Oh, yeah.
Looking towards players like Trixtank and Jeff Hindla, and then had to adjust.
That list goes on and on.
Yeah.
The amount of people that stole objectives successfully very often indeed. There's a long list of supports that have done it through the years.
And now we've seen this adjustment to mid-mages really taking a lot of the brunt of the objective secure. And now with Wrath making a comeback, it's a little bit spread out. You got some junglers here, some supports here, a little bit more options as far as that's concerned. Option onto the Jing way, but CaptainTwig able to jump away.
Did use his Purification though, which is a good win for Cyclone Spin. Cyclone, I keep saying Cyclone Spin every time, but good option for Cyclone there. They get a free Purification off of CaptainTwig, and they get a fall back again. Didn't use any ultimates for it themselves either.
Hungry for more still with the aggressive positioning though, Hindu-Man. Doesn't matter that they're lacking in the relic department, still want to make their position known.
Well, this is the advantage that Hungry for More have now, and Variety just keeps leading them into battle, but he gets Kraken Lawbringers. The Kraken, though, up and down, round and round, and now Hungry for More can look to pressure more.
Ataraxia takes a step out to get his cooldowns back up, and down goes the CaptainTwig ultimate, and here comes the Freya, pounding into Ice. There's one kill going his way.
Yes,
Ataraxia takes to the sky. Trouble for Deathwalker as well, but he's able to find a shell under the turtle form, and Hungry for More pushing up.
Variety committed pretty heavily there under the tower. The rest of his team were too low to really follow in him. Bit of a small mistake from Hungry for More there to get punished like that and have Variety fall for completely free, really, when they already picked up iceicebabyy before that happened.
Yeah, Hungry for More played very aggressive. You can see Ataraxia low, PrettyPriMe half. That's why Cyclone coming out and trying to make this one happen. Great taunt from Collis.
They can look for the pressure onto PandaLike as well. If they pick up this kill, they can keep marching on. Multiple members of Hungry for More have to base here as well, F-Dot. And if they have to base, they could look at a Fire Giant.
And with that route, Deathwalker makes up for his 2 previous deaths just by way of being out of position, taking out the support. Fire Giant was an option, but Cyclone going to play it safe, and they're going to go for the towers.
Now, this composition is one other thing that we didn't mention. We saw the Athena Thor combo that we both know they've got. Thor semi-global ultimate, Athena global ultimate.
Yep.
Well, you've also got Jing Bei, right? And Jing Wei can come back to a fight very quickly from base, and that is the turnaround potential that they have. As they get closer to the tier 2 towers and the Phoenixes here, Hungry for More have to be careful about overstaying their welcome. The moment they overcommit, it showed. Prime was the only one with full health there at the end of that engagement, and Cyclone managed to all rush straight on the base one more time at full health and force the issue, kill PandaLike. They get a tier 1 tower and looking at a goal here now.
Exactly, just a little bit too far, and I like this play. Cyclone going to sort of show a single player or a couple of players here by the Fire Giant to draw Hungry for More away from the Gold Fury, letting NBK solo it.
It's a good start for Cyclone. This is Cyclone to come back into the game again. They obviously got to stop the Gold Fury. Mid-game, they dipped down because of all that issue in the right-hand side of the jungle where Deathwalker got attacked, and they tried to defend it. Put Hungry for More in the power play spot, but that last Gold Fury where Ice came in and helped secure it with the help of Wlfy's Kraken spun this game on its head.
Exactly. Cyclone still trailing a little bit in the kills department, but certainly have stepped it up, and now they're our new gold leader.
There's the Pythax piece as well.
2,000 gold in the lead.
So that's Pythax piece as well. Obviously, auras are for everybody because they're going to be in different situations in the matchup most likely as well. And I wanted to see if we did see Ataraxia go for the Pythax piece because I believe he was the one that went for it. But PandaLike's under pressure there.
Panda taunted into everything. CaptainTwig drops the ultimate exclusively on the backside to zone off of the support, but down comes Thor, finds 2.
Kraken.
Little pot shot out of Vulcan, not going to do much, but Wlfy gets pushed. Sanctuary, not too big of a deal, but the chase is on. Wlfy takes it to the dome. Ataraxia with 10 in total for Hungry for More, puts down the player.
But Variety's going to fall again, going in a little bit too deep. However, Prime in spades. And now Turk's going to be careful about Jing coming back in. VoteNBK looking for a big old fight, using the agility to juke around this fight, looking for the crits, gets the kill onto CaptainTwig, and now meets Freya.
Raxia can't find it. He can't find the whoop. He can't find the basics. VoteNBK on tear by Ataraxia, but VoteNBK did the work, taking out 2 players on the side of Hungry for More.
I asked for Jing to step up, and he's trying to do that, but at the same time, it's not working out elsewhere on the side of Cyclone here. Hungry for More coming up big. Biggest thing I can see is Wlfy's the one guy that's got to sit at the back the whole time, right? And they're going to try and focus him Hungry for More, because he's one of the only ones, first of all, that can't come back to base really quickly compared to the others. Right? So take him out of the fight immediately, guaranteed 4v5. The others can all respawn and come back. Well, Wlfy has to hang in the fight because he can't get back to base in time and come back out as quick as the others. So you focus him early, and you also say raw Kraken. It's something you don't really want to do as a Poseidon if you can help it. The raw Krakens miss more often than they connect. That's why you've got a Whirlpool for the cripple to secure it more often.
And you've got the Collis for the setup with the taunt, and you've got a couple of stuns, but when all of those abilities are used either for initiation and later on for peel, you don't really have that setup for the Kraken.
I just want to see a little bit of a difference in how their playstyle is here. Have somebody peel for Wlfy a little bit more. VoteNBK seems to be fine to peel for himself. He's got the airstrike and the gust to be able to agility away from danger a little bit more. So maybe just focus on protecting Poseidon, whose only natural escape is running away.
Exactly, you know, and looking at this lineup from Cyclone, it really shouldn't be too hard of a stretch to really protect the Poseidon.
It is, but they're worried about PrettyPriMe in the backside here, and they're trying to make sure he stays out of the fight as long as possible. While Variety, on the other hand, all he has to do is just eye in on the Kraken dude every single time and be like, come on, you're with me. You're out of the fight. You want to take anyone, you're taking on the tier.
And that's what we're seeing Variety do the majority of the time here, just even pushing forward. Collis here, he'll get hit by the cripple a little bit, but Variety still undeterred.
I'm so pleased with Cyclone, though. This just was not a team I was expecting to be anything other than 7 for 8 so far.
Sure.
However, this is a different story right now as I'm looking at it. This is good.
So nice Kraken, but again, Variety finds the flip. And P.S., Hungry for More just taking the Fire Giant during the entirety of that zone.
And you saw the engagement from VoteNBK trying to steal it away, but now he's under pressure as he's forced out again. The whole team is forced out.
CaptainTwig
catches Callus.
Drops the ultimate, perfectly done. Ice looking for a target. Front or back, front or back. It's on the back, right on top of Ataraxia, but he's alone. Deathwalker knocked up mid-dash, taken out. Give me the money. CaptainTwig looking for Deathwalker as well, but Raxia gonna clean up iceicebabyy. Sanctuary saves the life of Thor. But there's the lift.
And that's the late game Freya coming through for you for Ataraxia and the boys of Hungry for More. Looking for the Phoenix now on the right side with the Fire Giant. I guess only 3 members remaining for Cyclone. They're even looking for the split push option with the Phoenix in mid as well.
Another knockup onto Collis. Wlfy, ouch, crit down by CaptainTwig. That passive certainly coming into play. VoteNBK getting pushed around by Variety. No one really left to defend this Titan. Still, mid-Phoenix going to be the choice for Hungry for More. And now once they notice everybody's dead, well, let's walk in. Collis can't deal with us. Game 1 goes to HFM.
And it was just that one whole little engagement around the Fire Giant there. You saw 4 members of Hungry for More doing the Fire Giant. You saw CaptainTwig was on secondary zone duty if required, but wasn't needed. Variety did all the work of keeping the whole team busy, even forcing a Kraken and getting away because of Lawbringer.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Cyclone played very well. They didn't really, you know, destroy themselves there, but the comeback from Cyclone was short-lived, and then we saw Hungry for More just come back on top.
It's more fixing the small issues now for Cyclone here. They've got a good baseline here. Their picks and bans seem pretty strong. They may throw out some interesting ones like Poseidon. You're like, why is Poseidon picks? But when you look at the compositions, they have the right idea tactically. Yeah. They're very aware of what their objectives they need to do and try and recognize situations that are good for them. Team fight-wise, though, that's where they seem to struggle a little bit off the mark in terms of peeling duty, engage duty.
And I mean, that's the sort of thing that just comes with practice. That comes over time.
Exactly.
You know, you can spend all the time you want in your notebooks and look at VODs and find all the X's and O's, and that's where the Poseidon picks in all this really counts. But when it comes down to execution, you just got to play the game.
Well, you get 2 more points here, Hungry for More. They'll move them up to at least 2nd position, because that will put them up to 9 points overall if they find the win against Cyclone in Game 2. Cyclone, though, start on 2 points. You know, they did do a good job earlier on, and I want to see them go out again here.
Absolutely.
Again.
We've got a game number 2 coming up, but before that, why don't we reflect on game number 1? A lot of strong stuff coming out, honestly, for both sides. I'm really curious to see where if we get a chance to see the efficiency numbers, I want to see where these teams wind up. But look at these numbers out of the mid. PrettyPriMe with almost 20,000 damage, doubling the Poseidon.
But it wasn't a high-death game, that one, either. It wasn't a high-power game in terms of damage dealt. It was very decent fights that were just over very quickly between the two teams. Tactical-wise, I want to say, I keep saying tactical, but it's been a tactical day. Now, this is the map efficiency here, F-Dot, as well. Now, for you guys in Europe that don't really understand it or get an idea of it, basically, everything in the map is worth a different amount of points. So, for example, boars would be worth less than a fire giant would. And there are all the things that you'll see that come into calculating this number. And as a whole, as the season progresses, you'll understand the map efficiency more as what numbers should be the average or expected for a team at the top and bottom of the division.
What we've seen so far with respects to the map efficiency, the average down the middle has been about 65 for our teams. And as far as the combat efficiency, we've seen 31. So pretty average stuff coming out from the two teams today. Obviously, Hunger for More inching a little bit more ahead since they are the winners. This is what the map control looked like at the end of the game. Hunger for More just absolutely slaughtering it. The only team to bring home a fire giant and the Phoenixes.
Yeah, but overall you can see how close it actually was in terms of the other buffs overall. Good little play from Cyclone coming out there. I'm not upset by that standard of the graphs at the end of that whatsoever.
Not at all. You can see Fire Imps on the other side, actually. Cyclone did a good job towards the early and mid-game. That's where really you can look at the Fire Imps, the Duo Boars, and even going down to see more Gold Furies coming out for Cyclone. But towards the end of it, HFM able to just swing around the back and take it.